I never thought the boy who shoved me into the lockers and called me every slur under the sun would end up being the one to pull me from the wreckage of my burning apartment. Arthur, wake up. God, please. Travis's voice cracked through the smoke, his hands rough but desperate as they dragged me across the hallway floor. That night in Seattle, 10 years after high school graduation, his face was the last thing I expected to see hovering over me like some twisted guardian angel. And as the paramedics strapped me to the gurney, our eyes locked, his filled with a terror I'd never imagined he could feel, and I whispered, "Why you?" Because even in the haze of pain and betrayal, I needed to know. It started back in Willow Creek, Oregon, a nowhere town squeezed between pine forests and the endless gray of the Columbia River. 2008. I was 15, awkward as hell, with glasses that slid down my nose and a backpack full of dog-eared sci-fi novels. Willow Creek High was the kind of place where football was religion and anything that deviated from the script got you excommunicated. I knew I was different from the jump. Whispers in the locker room about that time I stared too long at Jake Harlan changing after gym class. But I buried it deep, told myself it was just a phase, like the acne that wouldn't quit or the braces that made me lisp. Then Travis walked into sophomore year like he owned the oxygen in the room. Quarterback, captain of everything, with that easy grin and sun-bleached hair that made half the girls, and probably some of the guys, swoon. He was the golden boy, son of the local mill owner, the one whose family threw the biggest barbecues on the 4th of July. I didn't register on his radar at first. I was just another face in the sea of flannel and faded Levi's, blending into the background like the fog that rolled in off the river every morning. But radar's a funny thing. It pings when you least expect it. It was third period English, Mrs. Hargrove droning on about the Great Gatsby and all its tragic longing, when Travis leaned back in his desk 2 rows over and caught me glancing his way. Not staring, glancing, like you do when someone's laugh cuts through the monotony like a knife. Our eyes met for a split second, and something flickered in his. Confusion? Curiosity? Whatever it was, it died fast. By lunch, the whispers started. "Heard Arthur's a fag," someone said in the cafeteria line. I froze, fork halfway to my mouth, mac and cheese suddenly tasting like ash. That afternoon, it escalated. I was at my locker, fumbling with the combination, when a shadow fell over me. Travis, flanked by his crew, big, loud guys with Letterman jackets slung over their shoulders like armor. "Hey, queerbait," he said, voice low and laced with that fake bravado kids used to mask their own fears. Before I could turn, his hand slammed the locker shut, inches from my fingers. The bang echoed down the hall like a gunshot. Laughter rippled from his buddies. "Stay away from the team showers, got it? We don't need your kind perving on us." My face burned hotter than the radiator in my mom's beat-up Chevy. I mumbled something incoherent, probably whatever, and tried to slip away, but he blocked me, shoulder-checking me into the wall. Not hard enough to bruise. Not yet, but enough to make my books tumble to the floor. "Pick him up, Fairy," one of his friends jeered. I did, knees shaking, tears pricking my eyes that I blinked back furious. That was the first crack in my armor, the one that let the isolation seep in. After that, it was open season. School became a minefield. Notes stuffed in my locker, faggot, die. My gym clothes accidentally, doused in Gatorade, reeking of citrus and shame. And Travis, he was the architect. He'd bump me in the halls, accidentally trip me on the stairs, hissing slurs under his breath so teachers wouldn't catch it. Once, during a pep rally, he and his crew cornered me behind the bleachers, pantsed me in front of a handful of freshmen who'd snuck off for a smoke. The humiliation burned for weeks. I skipped school pretending the flu, but really, I was hiding the knots in my stomach that wouldn't untie. Why me? That's what I replayed in my head like a bad loop. I wasn't out. No one was. Not in Willow Creek, where the closest gay bar was a 3-hour drive to Portland, and even then, you'd better not get caught. But Travis zeroed in like he'd been waiting for an excuse. Rumors swirled that his dad was some old-school hard-ass, the type who quoted Bible verses at dinner and expected his son to carry the family legacy straight as an arrow. Maybe Travis was projecting. Maybe he saw something in me that mirrored the war raging inside him. I didn't know then. All I knew was the fear, the way it coiled around my ribs until breathing hurt. By junior year, I'd built walls higher than the Cascades. I ate lunch alone in the library, buried in Dune or Ender's Game, worlds where misfits became heroes. My grades skyrocketed, straight A's, valedictorian track, because what else was there? Friends? Forget it. The one girl who'd been nice to me, Sarah from debate club, ghosted after Travis spread word that hanging with me meant catching the gay. Mom noticed, of course. She was a single mom, working doubles at the diner to keep our double-wide trailer from foreclosure. "What's going on, Artie?" she'd ask, sliding a plate of meatloaf across the Formica table. I'd shrug, force a smile. "Just school stuff." She didn't push, but her eyes, tired, worried, followed me like a shadow. The breaking point came that spring, right before prom. I'd mustered the courage to ask Sarah again, figuring maybe the rumors had died down. She said yes, pity in her voice, but hey, it was a win. I rented a tux from the thrift shop in town, the one with the slightly shiny lapels, and practiced tying the bow tie in the bathroom mirror until my reflection almost looked confident. Prom night, I waited on the porch, the air thick with lilac and the distant hum of semis on I-5. Mom snapped a photo, her smile brittle. "You'll knock him dead, kiddo." The gym was a fever dream of twinkling lights and bad pop covers, the air sticky with Axe body spray and teenage desperation. Sarah showed up in a blue dress that made her look like a prom queen reject, and we danced awkwardly to some Kesha song. For a minute, it felt normal. Then Travis sauntered over, Jenny Whitaker on his arm, the head cheerleader, all peroxide curls and fake lashes. "Having fun, losers," he drawled, his breath sour with cheap beer snuck from his dad's stash. Sarah tensed, but I held my ground. "Yeah, we are. Back off. Big mistake." His eyes narrowed. That flicker again, something dark and unspoken. Before I could react, he grabbed my collar, yanking me close. "You think you can play house here? This ain't your scene, queer." The word landed like a slap, loud enough that heads turned. Jenny giggled, but it was forced. Sarah pulled at his arm. "Travis, stop." He shoved me hard, and I stumbled into a table, punch bowl tipping over in a sticky crimson cascade. Laughter erupted, harsh, echoing off the balloon arches. I hit the floor, tux soaked, dignity in tatters. Sarah helped me up, muttering apologies, but the night was ruined. We left early, her dropping me at home in silence. That was the night I cracked. In the shower, scalding water mixing with tears, I punched the tile until my knuckles bled. Mom found me there at midnight, curled on the bath mat. "Arthur," she whispered, wrapping me in a towel like I was 5 again. I spilled it all then. The bullying, the slurs, the way Travis had turned me into a ghost in my own life. She held me, rocking slow, her diner uniform still smelling of grease. "We'll get through this, baby. You're stronger than him." But as I lay in bed that night, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling, remnants of a childhood unscarred, I wondered if strength was just another lie we tell ourselves to survive. Graduation came like a mercy killing. I walked the stage, diploma in hand, valedictorian speech prepped, but never delivered. They gave it to the runner-up because logistics. Travis got his, of course, whooping with his crew as if the world was his birthright. Our eyes met across the football field one last time. Him in cap and gown, me in the shadows of the bleachers. No words, just that stare, heavy with everything unsaid. Then he turned away, and Willow Creek faded in the rear view as I headed for college in Seattle on a full ride. Freedom, I thought. A fresh start. But trauma's got hooks, deep ones. In Seattle, at UW, I bloomed cautious. Studied literature, fell into a quiet circle of theater kids who didn't pry. Dated a guy named Micah my junior year, soft-spoken art major with a lip ring and a laugh that thawed the ice around my heart. We lasted 6 months, until he transferred to RISD. It was my first taste of real affection, tentative kisses in coffee shops overlooking the sound, hands brushing under cafe tables. But even then, Travis haunted the edges, every jock on campus a trigger, every casual slur a echo. I graduated, landed a job at a small publishing house downtown, editing YA manuscripts that dealt with coming-out stories I could only half relate to. Life settled into a rhythm. Cramped apartment in Capitol Hill, brunches with friends, the occasional grinder hookup that left me hollow. Mom visited once, proud but fragile. The mill had closed, Willow Creek dying slow. "You okay, Artie?" she'd ask. I'd not because what else? The past was buried. Or so I lied to myself. Until the fire. It was a Tuesday in June, humid for Seattle, the kind of night where the city hums with unspoken promises. I'd come home late from a launch party, buzzed on cheap Pinot, scrolling emails in bed when the smoke alarm shrieked. At first, I thought it was a dream, until the acrid bite hit my throat. Flames licked up the kitchen wall, sparked by a forgotten pizza box too close to the stove. Panic clawed in. I grabbed my phone, fumbled for 911, but the smoke thickened fast, turning the room into a black fog. Coughing, disoriented, I stumbled toward the door. Heat singed my skin, the roar deafening. "Help!" I yelled, voice lost in the inferno. That's when the door burst open, axe in hand, silhouette backlit by hallway lights. He charged in, coughing through a bandana, eyes wild. "Arthur!" "Jesus, hold on." Travis. Of all people, Travis Malone, hacking at the doorframe like a man possessed, then dropping to his knees to scoop me up. How? Why? No time. He half-carried, half-dragged me out, my lungs burning, vision blurring. Outside, sirens wailed, neighbors gawked. He collapsed beside me on the wet grass, soot-streaked, gasping. "You're safe. God, you're safe." Paramedics swarmed. Oxygen mask on my face, fur in my arm. Travis hovered, refusing to leave until they wheeled me away. In the ER, monitors beeping, I pieced it together from the cops' questions. He'd moved to Seattle 6 months back, some tech sales gig after bouncing around jobs in Portland. Lived 2 floors up, coincidence, fate, whatever. Heard the alarm, smelled the smoke, recognized my name on the mailbox from a chance run-in at the building's laundry room weeks earlier. "Yeah, Arthur from high school," he'd said awkwardly then, like it was nothing. Now, here he was, the hero in a twisted script. I wanted to scream at him. Why now? Why save me after what he'd done? But exhaustion won. I passed out to morphine dreams of lockers and flames intertwining. Waking up in that sterile hospital room, tubes snaking my arms, the first face I saw wasn't Mom's, it was his. Travis, slumped in the vinyl chair by the window, stubble shadowing his jaw, eyes ringed with fatigue. He jerked awake when I stirred, leaning forward like I'd vanish if he blinked. "Hey," he said, voice gravelly. "Don't try to talk. Doctor said smoke inhalation. Nasty, but you'll be fine." Fine. The word hung absurd between us, loaded with a decade of debris. I pulled the mask down, throat raw. "What the hell are you doing here?" It came out a croak, but the venom landed. He flinched, just a twitch, but I saw it. Good. Let him feel a fraction of what I'd carried. "Watching out for you." Like I should have back then. His gaze dropped to his hands, clasped tight in his lap. Big hands, quarterback hands, the same ones that had once pinned me down. Now they trembled slightly. "I'm sorry, Arthur. For everything. Sorry." As if that word could cauterize the wounds. I turned away, staring at the 4 drips hypnotic plink-plink. Nurses bustled in. Mom arrived in a whirlwind of tears and takeout from her favorite faux spot. Flown up on the red-eye, bless her. Travis slipped out like smoke, leaving a business card on the side table. Travis Malone, account executive, Neotech Solutions. No number, just email and a scrawled, "Call if you need anything." I didn't. Or so I told myself. Discharge came 2 days later. Insurance covered a hotel for a week while the fire marshal deemed the building safe. Mom fussed, booking me into a days in near Pike Place, stocking the mini fridge with yogurt and those little coffee pots. "Rest, Artie. Let the city hold you a while." She meant Seattle, with its ferries and fog, but I heard the subtext, "Let go of Willow Creek's ghosts." Easier said. Alone in that room, TV murmuring the Office reruns, my mind replayed the fire on loop. And Travis, how he'd burst in without hesitation, risking his own skin. Why? Guilt? Pity? Or something uglier, like rewriting history to sleep better at night? I Googled him that first night, couldn't help it. LinkedIn polished him up nice. BS in business from Oregon State, sales awards, a photo in a crisp button-down, smiling like he hadn't a care. No mention of Willow Creek, no family updates. His Facebook was locked down, but a stray post from a mutual, some bar crawl in Portland, showed him with a beer, arms slung around a guy who looked too cozy. Friend? More? My stomach twisted, equal parts curiosity and revulsion. By day 3, cabin fever hit. I wandered the market, salt air mixing with fishmongers' calls, buying tulips I didn't need. That's when my phone buzzed, an unknown number. Hey, it's Travis. Just checking in. Need anything? I stared at it, thumb hovering. Delete. Block. But instead, I'm good. Thanks for the save. Neutral. Safe. His reply came fast. Bullshit. Meet for coffee? My treat. No pressure. Pressure was all it was. But the hotel coffee was swill, and my editor had extended my leave. Indefinite. With pay. Because who argues with near death? I typed back. Fine. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Zoko on East Pine. He was early, nursing a black drip at a corner table, scanning the room like a man on watch. When he spotted me, he stood, too quick, awkward, extending a hand I ignored. Arthur. My name on his lips, soft, like an apology wrapped in velvet. I slid into the seat opposite, ordering a latte to buy time. So, I started, stirring foam into oblivion. Sales, huh? Living the dream. He chuckled, low and self-deprecating. Pays the rent. What about you? Still buried in books. Editing them. For a living. Silence stretched, taut as a high wire. I broke it. Why'd you do it? The fire. You could have let the pros handle it. His jaw tightened, fingers tracing the mug's rim. Couldn't. Not you. Not after. He trailed off, eyes flicking to the window where rain pattered the glass. Seattle's eternal drizzle, washing nothing clean. After you made my life hell. The words spilled, sharper than intended. A nearby couple glanced over. I lowered my voice. You terrorized me, Travis. For years. Do you even get that? He nodded, slow, like the weight pressed his neck. Every damn day. I was a scared kid, Arthur. Dad breathing down my neck about man shit. Team expecting me to lead, and inside. I was messed up, confused. And you looked at me in English class that day, like you saw me. Really saw me. It freaked me out. So I lashed out. Made you the villain so I didn't have to face my own. The admission hung there, raw, confused. The word unlocked something. A memory of that flicker in his eyes, the roughness in his shoves that felt almost like touch-starved desperation. You were gay. I whispered, the cafe's hum fading. Bye, maybe. Didn't have the words then. Still figuring it out. He met my gaze, steady. Hated myself for it. Hated you for making me feel it. It's no excuse. I know that. But when I saw your name on that mailbox, it hit like karma. Then the fire. I couldn't let history repeat. I sipped my latte, scalding my tongue. Punishment, maybe. Part of me wanted to bolt, to tell him forgiveness wasn't on the menu. But another part, the one that had spent years in therapy unpacking that trauma, recognized the echo. The self-loathing, the masks. What now? I asked finally. You say sorry, save my ass, and we call it even? No. He leaned in, voice urgent. I want to make it right. However you need. Therapy? Community service? Name it. I laughed, bitter. You think amends are a checklist? But his earnestness chipped at the ice. We talked then, halting at first, then spilling. About Willow Creek's suffocating grip. How he'd come out to his mom after college, only for her to whisper, I knew, baby. I always knew. His dad? Cut ties years ago. A heart attack, taking him before reconciliation. My turn. The isolation, the way his bullying delayed my own coming out until 21, the grinder ghosts that followed. Coffee turned to lunch, fish and chips at a dive nearby, rain sheeting the windows. He paid, as promised, and walked me back, umbrella shared in awkward proximity. Our shoulders brushed, neither pulled away. Thanks, I said at the hotel door. For listening. Anytime. His smile was tentative, the boy from high school peeking through the man. I watched him go, collar up against the wet, and felt the first thaw, a dangerous warmth spreading in my chest. The week blurred. Hotel to temp office space my boss hooked up, editing manuscripts on a laptop scarred by water damage. Travis texted, weather sucks. Beers. I said yes. Then again, hiking in Discovery Park Saturday? Yes. Each meetup peeled layers. His failed engagement to Jenny. Yeah, that Jenny. It crashed when he admitted his attractions. My string of short flings that ended in too intense. We hiked trails slick with mud, him pointing out salmonberry bushes like a tour guide, me sharing plots from the books I loved. Laughter crept in, unbidden, his terrible impressions of our old teachers, my snarky takes on rom-com tropes. One night, over IPAs at a Capitol Hill pub, the air thick with indie folk and fry oil, he asked about the fire's aftermath. Lost everything, I admitted. Laptops toast, clothes mostly smoke ruined. Insurance is a nightmare. He didn't hesitate. Stay with me. Guest room's empty. Until you sort it. I balked. Travis, that's not charity. Payback. His eyes held mine, earnest. Please. Against better judgment, I agreed. His place was a third-floor walk-up in Fremont. All exposed brick and IKEA hacks. Trolls painted on the walls outside. A nod to the neighborhood's whimsy. The guest room smelled of fresh linen. He even stocked the fridge with my faves, snagged from reconnaissance at the hotel trash, he joked. Nights, we'd cook, pasta with Jared sauce, arguing over Spotify playlists. His, classic rock, mine, indie electronica. Proximity bred comfort, then something sharper, brushed knuckles over dishes, lingering glances during movie marathons on his sagging couch. It terrified me. This man who'd shattered me now felt like home, and that betrayal of my own heart stung deepest. One evening, post-inception, his pick, my analysis. The room dim with lamp glow, he turned from the kitchen, beer in hand. Arthur, whatever it was died on his lips as our eyes met. The air charged, heavy. I stood, closing the gap, heart hammering. His hand rose, hesitant, cupping my cheek. Echo of that high school shove, but tender now. I leaned in, breath mingling, and then his lips were on mine. Soft at first, testing. Then deeper, his fingers threading my hair, my hands fisting his shirt. It was fire without smoke. Decades of tension uncoiling in a kiss that tasted of regret and redemption. We broke apart, foreheads pressed, breathing ragged. Is this okay? He whispered. More than, I murmured, pulling him back. That night blurred into touches and whispers, bodies mapping forgiveness in the dark. No rush, no conquest, just us, unraveling knots we'd both tied. Afterward, tangled in sheets, his arm heavy across my waist, I traced the freckles on his shoulder. What are we doing? I asked the ceiling. Falling, he said simply. If you'll let me. I did. Summer deepened, Seattle's rare sun gilding our days. Farmers' markets hand in hand, discreet, but real, ferry rides to Bainbridge with picnics of cheese and crusty bread. He met my friends, brunch at a Capitol Hill spot, where they grilled him gentle, and he passed, vulnerability his shield. Mom called, sensed the shift in my voice. Someone special? I confessed bits, her laugh warm. As long as he treats you right, Artie. Travis did, or seemed to, but secrets fester, and has had teeth. It started small, a dodged call from an Oregon number, his face tightening when I asked. Old buddy, he'd say, changing the subject. Then, late nights at work, coming home with whiskey on his breath and excuses thin as fog. I pushed it down, told myself trust was the bridge we were building. Until the email. I'd borrowed his laptop, mine still in repairs, editing a manuscript on deadline. Browser open, a Gmail tab innocent until it wasn't. Draft folder. Subject, Willow Creek reunion, need to talk. Body, Travis, it's Jenny. Things have changed. Dad's sick, Mill's gone for good. Come home. We miss you. And, about that night. We can fix this. For the family. Attached, a scan, yellowed. Our senior prom photo, me on the floor, him looming. Underneath, in faded ink, Travis plus Jenny, forever? My blood iced. Forever? What night? The pieces slammed. His failed engagement a cover? And the photo, why keep it? Rage boiled, hot, and familiar. I confronted him that evening, printout thrust like evidence. He walked in whistling, takeout bags swinging, froze at my face. Arthur, what's this? I slapped it down. Jenny, the failed engagement that wasn't? And that night, prom? You two planned it? To humiliate me. His color drained. No, God, no. It's not. He reached, but I jerked back. Liar. The word cracked like the punch bowl. You saved me from the fire, played the hero, seduced me. All to what? Ease your conscience? Rewrite the bully as the lover. Arthur, listen. Desperation edged his voice, but I was done listening. I grabbed my jacket, stormed out into the dusk, streets slick with evening rain. His calls chased me, voicemails pleading, texts. It's not what you think. Please. I blocked him, crashed at a friend's. The betrayal of fresh scar over the old. Days blurred into numbness. Work suffered. My boss, empathetic, gave space. Friends rallied. Wine nights. Walks in Green Lake. But the hurt festered. Why him again? Why let him in? Only to get torched twice. I dove into research, piecing the puzzle. Calls to mutuals in Willow Creek. Whispers of Travis's arranged future with Jenny. Family pressures to settle down and save the Mills legacy. But the photo, the malice in keeping it, gnawed. A week later, a package arrived at the office. Manila envelope, no return address. Inside, the photo, torn in half, with a letter. Travis's scrawl, "You deserve the truth. I'm sorry I hid it. Read this, then decide." Enclosed, a journal, leather-bound, pages filled with his handwriting, entries from high school onward. I took it to the park, autumn leaves crunching underfoot, and read. The first entry gutted me. Sophomore year. Saw Arthur in English. He looked at me like I was real, not the mask. Scared shitless. Dad's voice in my head. Men don't feel that way. Shoved him today. Felt like puking after. Pages chronicled the bullying. Not cruelty, but desperation. Each act a scream against his own desires. Prom night. Jenny cornered me. Said Dad pushed her to set me straight. We faked the shove for show, town's eyes on us. But seeing Arthur fall broke something in me. Kept the photo as punishment. For me. Tears blurred ink. Further, college confusion, coming out alone in dorm bathrooms, the engagement, a ploy to appease Dad, ended when he caught Travis with a guy at a Portland club. Broke Jenny's heart, mine too. But freed me. Recent. Moved to Seattle for a fresh start. Saw Arthur's name. Fate? When the fire hit, I ran because I owed him my life. Not just from flames, from the boy I killed inside myself. I sat there, journal clutched, wind whipping the sound's edge. Empathy warred with fury. The boy who'd hurt me was as trapped as I was. But the man? He'd tried. Failed, but tried. My phone buzzed, unblocked, a text, at the beach. Where we first kissed in my head. If you come, I'll explain everything. No more secrets. The dunes called, waves crashing like unresolved chords. Discovery Park stretched like a wild heart on Seattle's edge, paths winding through sword ferns and cedars that whispered secrets to the wind. I drove there in the deepening twilight, journal on the passenger seat like a talisman, heart a drumbeat of doubt and pull. The beach access trail was muddy from recent rains, my sneakers sucking at the earth as I descended. Salt air hit sharp, mingling with pine, and there he was, Travis, silhouette against the slate-gray waves, hands jammed in his hoodie pockets, staring out like the ocean held answers. He turned at my crunch of gravel, hope flickering in his eyes before caution dimmed it. You came, voice rough, like he'd been shouting apologies to the tide. I stopped 10 feet away, arms crossed against the chill. The journal. It's a lot. Words failed. How do you unpack a lifetime in a sentence? He nodded, gesturing to the driftwood log we'd claimed once for a sunset picnic, back when trust was a sapling, not this gnarled oak. We sat, space between like a chasm, the sound murmuring indictments. Ask me anything, he said. No dodges. I started with the knife's edge. Jenny. The engagement, was it ever real? He exhaled slow, breath fogging the air. No, not for me. Our dad schemed it. Mill owners uniting, legacies locked. She knew I was struggling. Thought marriage would fix it, like some 1950s cure. We dated a year, faked the romance for photos, barbecues. But the night I ended it? Portland club, guy from work. Dad found out, disowned me on the spot. Jenny got the brunt. Family turned on her too. That's that night in the email. Not prom. The breakup. Relief edged in, tentative. And the photo? Keeping it like a trophy. His laugh was hollow, wave crash echoing. Trophy? Nah. Self-flagellation. After prom, I snuck it from the yearbook committee, proof of the monster I was. Stared at it when the guilt hit, reminding myself why I had to change. Burned copies in therapy, but that original clung like a curse. Jenny dug it up recently, waving it like leverage. Come home, fix us, for Dad's sake. He's got cancer now, stage 4. Wants me back in the fold. Sins forgiven if I play straight son. The piece is slotted, his late nights, The Oregon calls. Not infidelity, but ghosts. Why not tell me? I pressed, voice cracking. We were building something. You let me think. I know. He raked hands through his hair, salt spray beading on lashes. Pride. Shame. Thought I could handle it solo, like always. Didn't want to drag you into Willow Creek's mess again. But seeing you hurt? Worse than any fire. His hand inched toward mine on the log, paused. I didn't pull away. Let it cover, warm and calloused. We sat like that, silence companionable now, the sky bruising purple. Stars pricked through, early for November. I forgive you, I said finally, the words a stone lifted. The boy, the mistakes. But the man, don't hide from me again. Never. He squeezed, thumb tracing my knuckle. I love you, Arthur. For real this time. No masks. Love. It landed soft, not the bomb I'd feared. I turned, cupping his face. Echo of our first kiss, but deliberate. I love you too. Terrifying as that is. Our lips met, salt-tanged and sure. The ocean applauding with foam-frothed waves. No rush, just presence. The most romantic moment I'd known. Not fireworks, but hearth glow, steady and true. Winter settled, brittle and beautiful. My apartment repairs dragged, so we made his place ours. My books on his shelves, his jerseys in my closet. Holidays loomed. Mom invited us to Willow Creek for Thanksgiving, her voice tentative over the line. Bring him, Artie. Time to meet the family that matters. Travis hesitated, the mill's shadow long, but nodded. For you. The drive south was a time machine. Interstate flanked by evergreens, then the river's lazy bend. Willow Creek unchanged save for boarded storefronts. Mom hugged us fierce on the trailer steps, pie cooling on the sill. Travis Malone, as I live and breathe. No judgment, just curiosity. Dinner was chaos, turkey dry, stories loose. He charmed her with tales of Seattle hikes, her laughing at his frog-in-the-throat impression of her old boss. But cracks showed. At the diner next morning, black coffee and eggs, locals stared. Old teammates clapped Travis's back too hard, eyes sliding to me. Heard you two are. Close now? One slurred, beer from last night lingering. Travis stiffened, arm around my chair. Yeah, very. Problem. The guy backed off, mumbling. But tension coiled. That night, Jenny called, Travis's phone on speaker, boundaries be damned. Dad's asking for you, she said, voice brittle. Says forgive and forget. Come to the hospital tomorrow? He glanced at me, pleading. I nodded. Humanity over grudge. The hospital was a squat brick in the Dallas, fluorescent hum underscoring beeps. Mr. Malone lay shrunken, oxygen hissing, eyes sharp under brows. Son. No warmth, just command. Travis took his hand. Dad. Introductions awkward. I hung back. Arthur the editor from the city. But his gaze pinned me. The fag from high school. Blunt as a hammer. Travis recoiled. Dad. Save it. Knew you were weak. This why you ran. Venom dripped, decades distilled. I froze, old wounds ripping. Travis stood, voice steel. Enough. I love him. And you? You've lost that right. He stormed out, pulling me with. In the parking lot, rain lashing the truck, he broke, sobs racking, fists on wheel. I'm sorry. God, Arthur. I held him, rain soaking us through. You chose me. That's what matters. We drove back in silence, Mom's arms waiting. She chased the dark with Coco, and It's a Wonderful Life on VHS, her hand on Travis's knee. Families break, boy. But we mend. Christmas in Seattle was ours. Tree from a U-cut lot. Ornaments mismatched. His gift a first edition Gatsby annotated with our inside jokes. Mine. A leather journal. Blank pages for his truths. New Year's, we toasted on his balcony. City fireworks blooming like promises. Life deepened. My promotion to senior editor. His sales team expanding. We talked future. Road trip to Yellowstone. Maybe adoption down the line. Dreams, fragile but shared. Spring brought green shoots. A weekend in the San Juans, cabin by the sea, kayaking coves, evenings with wine and the night circus. That's where the high tide of doubt crested. Post-dinner, fire crackling. He got a call. Jenny again. Dad's gone, she whispered. Funeral Friday. He named you in the will. Travis paled. What? Betrayal's aftershock, his face crumpling, my world tilting. It's a trap, I said, voice steady for him. Don't. I know. But conflict raged. Loyalty's ghost, the boy who'd craved approval clawing back. He paced the porch, waves mocking. What if? No, I can't. Sleepless night, his back to me, turmoil radiating. Funeral day, he went alone. Closure, he said. I paced our Seattle apartment, phone silent. Hours later, he returned, eyes red, suit rumpled. It's done. Envelope thrust, signed papers, inheritance rejected. Told her everything. About us. About me. She understood, hurt, but free too. The mill sold. Proceeds to a queer youth center in Portland. Dad's last joke on me turned gift. Relief crashed, but so did the fear. What if he'd chosen? You almost didn't come back, I accused, tears hot. He pulled me close, fierce. Never. You're my home, Arthur. Willow Creek's just dirt. We held on. The climax of our story, not explosion, but quiet resolve. The decision that severed the past. But stories twist. Summer hummed, our rhythm solid, until the article. It dropped unannounced, a digital dagger in my inbox. Willow Creek Gazette e-edition, forwarded by a nosy ex-teammate with a winky emoji. Headline, Local Hero Returns. Travis Malone rejects legacy, comes out in fiery eulogy. Below, a grainy photo from the funeral. Travis at the podium, Ginny beside, faces etched with grief. The text spun his rejection as a bold stand against family tyranny. Quoting him, I loved my father, but not at the cost of who I am. Arthur showed me that, showed me love beyond hate. My name, bolded, exposed. Panic surged. Not for me. Capitol Hill's rainbow flags fluttered proud, but for him. The blowback hit fast. Voicemails from old numbers, slurs hissed. His boss called a discreet meeting, HR forms for personal matters. Travis brushed it off, but I saw the cracks, nights staring at ceiling, jaw clenched. You regret it? I asked one evening, rain pattering the window like accusatory fingers. We were on the couch, takeout cooling, his hand limp in mine. Never. But doubt shadowed his eyes. Just didn't think it'd splash like this. Small town, big echo. Echoes amplified. A week later, Ginny showed. Unannounced, on our doorstep, rain-slicked and hollow-eyed. Can we talk? Travis let her in, me hovering like a sentinel. Coffee poured, awkward triangle in the kitchen. The article, she started. It's everywhere. Dad's friends. They're suing. Claimed Travis defamed him, poisoned the will. Suing. My voice pitched. Over what? Truth. She nodded, twisting napkin shreds. They want the proceeds clawed back. To traditional causes. Her gaze flicked to Travis, soft. I testified for you. Said it was mutual, the end of us. But they're vicious. He deflated. Why come here? Because I owe you both. Tears welled. And I miss this. Us. Not romance, but family. The room stilled. She'd known. His secrets, mine by proxy. Forgiven, maybe. We talked then, raw. Her own closet in Willow Creek, a girlfriend hidden in Portland. Alliances shifted. She stayed for dinner, laughter tentative but real. The lawsuit dragged, a summer storm. Depositions in a sterile conference room. Lawyers parsing words like butchers. Travis shone, steady, unapologetic, recounting the bullying, the pressures, his growth. Me, as witness. The fire, the healing, our love as evidence of change. Ginny's testimony sealed it. Travis chose heart over hate. That's the legacy Dad should have wanted. But the real high tide crested unexpected. A letter, postmarked Willow Creek, arriving mid-trial. Travis's mom, estranged since the disownment, handwritten, trembling script. Saw the paper. Proud of you, son. Finally seeing the boy I raised. Come home. With Arthur. For good. Enclosed, a key to the old family cabin by the river, neutral ground, olive branch. He wept reading it, shoulders shaking. She never said a word before. I held him, the weight lifting. Go. We go. The drive was healing. Highway melting into memory lane, pine sentinel. The cabin stood weathered but warm, river murmuring welcome. His mom waited on the porch, gray-streaked, arms open. Hugs fierce, tears saltier than the sound. My boys, she said, including me seamless. Dinner was venison stew, stories unspooling. Her silent support during the bullying years, guilt for not intervening. Saw the pain in both your eyes. Should have spoken. Forgiveness flowed, a river carving stone. We stayed a week, fishing lazy, hikes through fern-choked trails, nights with morays and stars. Travis shed the last skin, laughing free, hand in mine, unhidden. Back in Seattle, the lawsuit crumbled, judge dismissed, citing frivolous claims. Donors pulled, the queer center funded double. Fall turned, leaves gold. Our life deepened. Proposal on that Fremont Bridge, troll grinning below, ring simple silver. Marry me? He asked, on one knee in the drizzle. Every day, yes. Wedding small, mom, friends, Jenny as best woman. Vows exchanged under a willow in Discovery Park, waves our chorus. Years folded, my novel published, his promotion to manager. We adopted Ben, a scrappy foster kid with our shared stubborn streak. Willow Creek visits regular, his mom's cabin our retreat. Looking back, Travis didn't just save me from flames. He ignited something truer. The bully became the love, the ruin the foundation. And in quiet moments, his hand in mine, I whisper thanks, to fate, to forgiveness. Because sometimes, the ones who break us are the only ones who can make us whole.